feel like a lot of people are just on the fence when they think of an album designer and they're like, oh, it doesn't take me that long to do it. No, it's so much faster. Like I can't express the amount of time you're gonna save. I was like, what have I been doing? Hey, I'm Latrice Murphy from Aurora, Illinois. I run Latrice Murphy Design and Photography, and I'm predominantly a senior and sports photographer.
Thanks, Latrice, for joining us today. So good to see you. How long have you been using Fundy Designer?
It's got to be at least like 8 years, 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say Jen Lewis is probably who got me into, like, I probably took a class and she was like, this album designer. And I was like, perfect. Okay, so albums is, every client buys an album. Like, it's like a given. The way I do it is, I have a print credit that's worked into my session fee. And then I always push albums first, just because I know using Fundy, it's super fast, super easy. And then I can get them, their albums as fast as possible. But for me, album sales are awesome because I also push, hey, if you've already got these images in an album, why don't you add on a digital or add on, other stuff, because I'm already doing the editing work basically.
Yep.
So I offer, 4 or 5 different sized albums. Miller's is my company that I print through, and Fundy makes the process of just getting those images in there and then the process of them getting back to me with comments or changes super flawless. I am a photographer who lets my client proof their album. I know a lot of photographers are like, nope, it's done, it's ordered, like you don't have a say, but it keeps them a part of the process. So what I do is after they do their gallery reveal, they've picked their, 35, my smallest album takes 35 images up to, I think, 70. Once they pick those images, I upload them directly into the Fundy Designer. I do use the auto designer, and I keep my images in chronological order as I've shot them. I don't think I've ever had any clients say, oh, mix them up. I just do it in chronological order. And then I keep it to a certain number of spreads because I know that's what my base price is.
Yep.
And then if they decide, hey, we want to add, or we don't want 3 and 4 pictures per spread, we just want, a single page, single image per page, then I can upcharge them for extra spreads. But yeah, I usually keep it between 3 to 4 images per spread. And then I think it's 20 pages total, which is like 10 spreads, I think. What I do is I write in Fundy. You can, like you said, you can export it right to the design proofer, asks you your client's email address, if you want to put it, to the slideshow to music and all this. I usually just leave the music off. And then, each page, each spread has the little box where they can make comments, and then those comments either come straight to my email or I can just go back into Fundy and read through that. Honestly, I think I've only had like 1 client ever change anything. It's just an option.
Yeah.
They're like, it looks great, Latrice, perfect, order it. I'm like, all right, cool. But another thing I do like about the design proofer is that I can download that flat lay image. Which is so cool. And now you can add like the little cards, and if you've done wall art, like it just creates this like fun little flat lay image. And I use that for my cover photo for social media stuff. So one of the incentives I offer to all my senior clients is that they can do family photos as a part, like the first 20 minutes of their session, they can do family photos, because especially with boys, they don't want to dress up more than once.
Yeah.
So they get their family
In
photos
their life.
done.
That's in their life, right? It's like senior photos, wedding, and we're done. That's it. From then on out, it's t-shirts and jeans. That's all I want.
It's so true. So this one family had done, they went all out. They did the family photos, they did the senior photos, and she had done everything from being a water polo cheerleader, had her cap and gown that she had borrowed from someone who graduated in 2020.
Yeah.
So she brought all the things, plus like 4 more outfits. So it was a big session compared to other clients. So I was like, okay, I need to take advantage of this a little bit. Like, I had been in their home before. I knew they had some empty wall space. So I said, hey, I want to just show you a couple different options for your family photos. So she was like, sure.
Sure.
And then, I showed her maybe 2 or 3 options and then the album options.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I love that. So she ordered like 24 by 36 canvas,
Yep.
I think, to go above their piano. It was after her ordering session when I was kind of putting her album together, and I was like, let me do some extra stuff just to show you, because their sessions were actually, this client, she actually they did their family photos right after her senior session because they wanted Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
So the timing wasn't like exact, but so I showed it to her afterwards. And what I did is I downloaded those images. So I used the rooms that you guys had.
Yep.
I just did the mock rooms for them. I did some with frames, some as canvas, and kind of just explained it to her in an email. And I just attached those images just to an email. And she was like, I like this one. And I like the idea of doing it in person, honestly, but my clients are always like, they come in and they're squeezing in an hour, and it's like, they're already squeezing me in between a game or a work trip or something. And I'm like, I'll just send you the rest, via text or email. And they're like, perfect. So when they first reach out to me and inquire about a senior session, I say, hey, let's set up a consultation just to I want to make sure the senior and me vibe well, because sometimes it doesn't, not like my style. They may not like me. I don't know. But I want to get them in my studio because I do have a studio set up in a way that it is very much, it's targeted towards those teenagers, right? It's set up like an Urban Outfitters kind of, like that's what they think. So once they're here, or if I'm doing an in-person consultation, I have everything up in front of them. We sit on the couch and everything is right there in front of them anyway. So as we're talking about what they want for their session, I kind of point out like, oh, and then when it's time for you to order, these are some of the options, these albums that are all over the table or up on the shelves and things. So, and they'll sometimes pick them up and flip through them. You mentioned to them that, just about every client orders an album and they range from this much to this much. So they've already, before they've even booked a session, they're like, okay, we know we might have to order an album.
Yep.
So then on their session day, girls usually get hair and makeup done. And then the mom is sitting on the couch again, and she's flipping through albums, right? Yep. So again, she's got the albums in her hands, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, oh, this is this specific cover, or they did a photo, they didn't, whatever.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people are just on the fence when they think of an album designer, and they're like, oh, it doesn't take me that long to do it. No, it's so much faster. Like I can't express the amount of time you're gonna save. I was like, what have I been doing? Like, oh my God, I'm done in like 20 minutes. Now, if my clients are watching this, it takes me 3 hours.
It takes 3 hours.
It changes, but no, it's so fast. And now you guys have like the editing in there too, which is amazing. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I hope you have an awesome year.